you are not presenting, if you could mute your microphone. I'm hearing a little bit of feedback from somebody, which would be fantastic. So did want to welcome everybody, though, to our ASSP Cascade chapter meeting. It's good to see so many faces and have so many people attending. We've got a great speaker for today. Before we do our introduction of our speaker, I'm going to have Naomi talk a little bit about some of the work that she's been doing on the national level with some events to make you all aware of. So Naomi, to you.
Thank you, Jim. Hi, everyone. I'm Naomi Hernandez, and I'm a consultant at SAFE Corporation, but I am very thankful that SAFE has given me the opportunity to serve for the Hispanic Safety Professionals Common Interest Group at the national level. And this is the first year I am their special events chair. And this is the first year we put together a program in celebration of National Hispanic Heritage Month. So this is my baby. So I ask all of you as my chapter members to support us by showing up to our series of events. So we are very active, or most of the work that we do it through our social media platforms. But there are some few folks that have gotten the opportunity to have chapters in our group representation within their chapters. And so the Bakersfield chapter has hosted this landing page for our common interest group for HSP. And so that's what I'm sharing in the links as a link for you to look at what we've done in terms of a series of events. So every week of National Hispanic Heritage Month, which starts on September 15th, we started out with a different event. So in this link, you will also find a newsletter that I helped create, and that's also my baby. So please take a look at that. That would help kind of share with you all what National Hispanic Heritage Month is all about. And then you can look at the other opportunities. Starting next week, we'll start with a charla, which is a panel of safety professionals. And then we do have some amazing speakers coming down to provide us a few topics as well. So take a look at that, and thank you for your support. And thank you to our chapter as well for your support in the planning of all these events.
And thank you again, Naomi, for all your efforts in putting it on. I know I'm looking forward to the number of the topics, especially towards the end. There's one on psychological safety that I'm excited about. But I think there's something for everybody. And thank you for all of your work and putting that on, Naomi. And now to Christy to introduce our speaker for today.
Excellent. Thank you. I'm really excited about that, Naomi. So thank you. One of the things we were going to do is put some links in the chat, but I'm seeing that we're getting like voice to text in our chat today. I'm not exactly sure why, or if everybody else is seeing that. So if you have any trouble with the links, I will let you know that I will send the links out after the meeting, along with the link to the recording, so that you know that's ready in case you missed it or you want to go to one of those links. So just a matter of closing up our business. So today I'm really excited. We've got Janina Rager here from Eugene Police. She's a community engagement specialist, and we asked her on short notice to come in and talk to us about some of the undesirable behaviors we're seeing in our community and around crime prevention. So she's here to share all her knowledge with us, and there'll be plenty of time for your questions. So Janina, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. So again, yes, as Christy said, this was very by the moment, so hopefully I'm not going to let you guys down. I did see that the topic was crime prevention, and it seemed that there was a lot of detail around how to keep your businesses safer and so forth. So I apologize if this isn't exactly what you were hoping for, but the most prevalent part of this presentation is going to be on Sept related stuff, which is crime prevention through environmental design, on if you're having problems around your business and so forth, some of the main points that you can address to make your business a little bit safer. So I'm going to try to do my PowerPoint here, hopefully not lose you guys or anything. All right. And can you guys see me? Okay, and the presentation? Yes. Okay.
Yep.
So, okay, so with crime prevention Sept, I'd like to tell people first off that most of the crimes that you're going to happen, the major crimes that are going to happen to most businesses, are going to happen at night when you're not at the business. And criminals like to work in the dark. So when you're looking at the different techniques on how to keep your business safe, the number one for nighttime, oh, and actually I got ahead of myself, but we'll get to that towards the end. I'll come back to that, is lighting. And so what's one of the things, and this is where I'm going to go back because I got ahead of myself there, is I don't know if any of you in Eugene have had this done or if you have safety officers that do this, but I highly recommend if you're in the Eugene area to contact the Eugene Police Department. Myself or one of my 2 cohorts can come out to your business and do a Sept analysis, which basically is looking at all aspects, lighting, maintenance, landscaping, cameras, everything, to see what could make you safer at your location, what's going to help decrease the criminal activity and so forth. If you don't live in the Eugene area, I highly recommend you get a hold of your local police agency to see if they do have someone who is trained in the Sept. It's very beneficial. You'd be surprised sometimes things that you could make a difference with that you don't even think about. And we're trained in that. So I'm going to have Christy add a link in the system that's going to give you the email contact to the NICP, so that if you are interested in having one of your safety specialists go to the training for that. For bigger organizations, it might be something worthwhile because it's a week training. You usually get to go to Vegas. Oh, darn. And you know, it's not really that expensive of a training, but definitely beneficial for the larger organizations that want someone there all the time. But for some of the smaller places, just call us. And if you are a bigger one want to call us, call us. Additionally, I put the information in there for NAMA, which is safety and de-escalation training for those of you who might want someone on staff that specializes in de-escalation. I do also give de-escalation and safety seminars. We're not doing it today, but there's, you know, if you want someone on staff, those are 2 wonderful places you can go. All right, back to lighting. So with lighting, this is probably one of the things every time I go to a facility, I usually get like a little twitch because there's just something going wrong with the lighting. One day a week, I actually get up at 4 or get to work at 4 in the morning, and we'll go assess businesses that want me to see what their lighting looks like at night. And so the first thing I kind of want to talk about your business lighting that I think is really important is the type of lighting that you're using. And if you look at the picture here, and I don't know if you can see my arrow moving around in there, but you get metal halide, LED, your low sodium, high sodium pressure lights, and there's so many lights to pick from. But I will say hands down, you know, for a long time, metal halide was the actual one you'd want to go to, but LED has surpassed everyone pretty much. And that's because it used to be that it was more expensive. Now it's not. And you can actually see here, this is your high sodium, low sodium pressure type lights. They give that orange glow. And when I see businesses with this, it's almost like haunting and just kind of scary. And I mean, if you think about it, if you were somebody walking down a street, would you want to walk down this street, or would you want to walk down this street that has the LED good cutoff lighting? So one thing to keep in mind with your business is the type of lighting you're using, because really the LED lighting, it's cost effective, everything, it lasts longer, it's brighter, and it's just going to light up your business a lot more. This picture I like because, and we'll go into more details on this, but not only does it have good lighting, but it's good cutoff lighting. You can see the landscaping is perfect. The shrubs aren't higher than 2 feet. The trees are trimmed up. So you have good line of sight around the street. I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to go into all of that. But in this picture, I just really wanted you to kind of see the difference between what this looks like and this. Guarantee this area is going to have a lot more crime in it just by the lighting by itself. Okay, then we're going to go into lighting a little bit more. When you're looking at lighting around your facilities, you've got the different kind of fixtures, which I want you to pay attention mostly to these. This is semi-cutoff and cutoff lighting. Unfortunately, a lot of places in town, especially your older buildings and stuff, like to get those like lollipop lights up, which really protracts the light out, but it's a lot of glare. And I kind of like to add the little bad guy in here so you can kind of get an idea here that the more you direct light under the horizon, the better visual that you are going to have, or anyone in the area is going to have, of what's happening around your facility. Compared to light that goes outward is going to be more blinding, it's going to cause light trespass, etc. So when you're looking around your facility at lighting, pay attention to the color of the lighting, how bright it is, and also how it's directing. You really want to direct that light downward. And this is just kind of an example, and I'll tell you something funny about this photo in a second. But the other thing is keeping in mind that the reason I really like to have the lighting directing more down is, first of all, we don't want to trespass light into other businesses, streets, and so forth, and the glare. And actually, when you have light shining right out into the person's eyes, it really almost blinds them from things that they should be seeing. And it took me about 5 presentations using this picture before I realized this little guy saying, "My freaking eyeballs." So that was just kind of a little funny thing that took me a while. But when you're also looking at this, and I'll tell a story, I'll actually show a picture here in a little bit. I go to a lot of places that might have a really great light like this in their parking lot or somewhere in their facilities, and then maybe their employees are parking over here and it's dark and stuff. So it's also trying to keep a pattern of uniformity with the lighting. About the time that this light starts to stop, I should be getting another light that picks up so that we're constantly keeping a uniform light going across parking lots, the building, so that you're constantly getting a good line of sight visually with your light. And so, and if anyone has any questions, just don't hesitate to interrupt me. I don't care. So now this is the thing is, we go to a lot of businesses that are already up. So here within the last couple of years, I started working with the city building permits office and stuff, so that when someone comes in and says, "Oh, I want to build a building," they let me know, or I try to get a hold of that person, because guess what? It is so much cheaper to put the lighting in when the building's going up, because when I go to your business, if it's already just well established, this is going to be the most expensive thing you're going to deal with, is putting lighting in or changing the lighting. Unfortunately, fixtures not as much, but so sometimes I have to get creative when I go to businesses, because they're like, "Well, it's not in the budget to put new lighting in." So one thing that I also show people, which Oregon's getting a lot more sun, which is great. Unfortunately, winter not so much, but solar lights are great. If you have areas around your facility that you're like, "We just can't afford to put lighting in, but we have plenty of sun in that area," solar lights are a great option for you. They're very cheap, and they can actually produce, they have good LED ones that can produce quite a good amount of light. So it's something to think for some of the smaller businesses, and also some of the businesses that it's just not in the budget at the time. I do like people to look into those. I think they're very beneficial. But why bother if you're not going to fix it? So I do this all the time. I've been doing this for 19 years, and I can't tell you how many times I go to a business and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you got to do this with your lighting." And I see that fixture's broken. I see that light bulb's out, da-da-da. And I'll come back 3 weeks later and the light bulb is still out and the fixture's still broken. So what I really try to get people to do is maybe once a month, for those especially of you that are working in security, try to make a day once a month where you come in at a dark time and evaluate what's going on with the lighting system. Make sure that you're keeping up on those, the light bulbs, the fixtures, what's going on, because it's not going to do you any good if no one's doing that. And I see that all the time. If I actually had a penny for every time I went to businesses and they're just not changing the lights and it's dark and stuff, when all they got to do is replace the light bulb, I wouldn't be doing this right now, because I'd be retired rich. So, maintenance on the lights and stuff, definitely keep up on that. I'm going to pause there for a second to see if anyone has any questions on lights. All right, well, if you do later, you can always let me know. Okay, so next we're going to go into kind of what has to do with lighting and landscaping, ambush points. So you're going to see here, this is one of our other community engagement specialists, Stephen Chambers. And so if you're on the east side of town, you may know Stephen. I use him as my Where's Waldo when I go do these. So I like to hide Stephen and then take pictures. But you would be surprised around your facility how many unsafe places, or ambush points, as I like to call them, that you might have and you're not even aware of. This particular facility has a parking lot over there, and a very dark parking lot. And next to it is a bunch of bamboo that separates the parking lot from the bike path. But there's little inserts you can get to the bike path. And when you ask someone, where do you think the ambush points would be? And they're like, "Oh, it's definitely the bamboo over by the bike path." Well, what people don't realize is every day they'd walk from around the parking lot, come this way and go down a ramp to their business. Well, in both pictures, Stephen's standing right there. I literally took those photos like 30 seconds apart with just a flashlight. So every morning people are walking by here, somebody could be standing in there. Not only that, somebody could easily, if they banged you over the head and drag you in, people could walk by and they wouldn't even know you were in there. As you can see, Steven's got tan colored pants on and so forth. So, I mean, this is what I call an ambush point. There are places around your facility that the parking lots or where employees have to go. So I can always tell people, you can make a game out of it and just go out there and play hide and seek with each other and see who can hide from who. But but it's being aware of ambush points that are around your facility and places, not just necessarily for ambushing, but we have a huge increase in the unhoused population right now. So I'm getting a lot of people that are like, oh my God, there's people sleeping on my property and stuff. They're going to be looking for places where they can hide and where they can go to the bathroom or where they can store stuff. So these places that you're not even being aware of, pay attention to those areas, because then you got to start thinking of how do we deal with this area so it doesn't become a problem anymore. And so again, so that's one. And this is just to kind of give an example here. So when I went in for my advanced Sept in Las Vegas, we had to do the Container Park. If any of you ever been to Las Vegas and seen Container Park, it's a pretty amazing place. But we had to look for ambush points and stuff. But this is just to give you an example that on the outskirts, this is a main road right here. So main road right here. And then there's these boxes like this in several locations around the property. We were lucky that this one, now there's really no reason for this whole area. There's no lighting in this area. And as you can see, two of us can easily hide back there. So behind this container was a bunch of clothing and stuff where someone had been sleeping. So it was definitely a sleep place. The next one over were big piles of feces where people have just been going to the bathroom nonstop. So when you have items such as this on your property where people can easily, it could be right next to a road, but if I can hide behind it, who knows what I'm going to do behind it. So, right now it's looking at places around your property. What can be ambush points? What can be camping points? What can be places where I can go to the bathroom? And then you got to think, okay, now how do I close these up or how do I make them better? So, and this kind of goes into landscaping. So in the Sept rule, we usually do the 2-6 rule. So your shrubs should never get higher than about 2 feet. And you want to keep your tree canopy about 6 feet. And the purpose of this is we don't want people hiding behind it. Okay, you want it to, when you go outside your business, you should know if someone's hiding behind the bushes or the trees. And again, here's my Where Waldo right here. If you didn't look close enough there, Steven, he's actually standing up because there's a downgrade to the ground behind that. But I'm standing on the sidewalk. So here I am at nighttime walking down the street. Could someone pull me behind those bushes and easily do something? Absolutely. Can I camp back there? Absolutely. Can I use it for a bathroom? Absolutely. So I would definitely be taking these down to about 2 feet. So now that I'm going to reduce that area. Differently also, I don't like the fact that there's windows behind the shrubs. Why? Because if I want to try breaking into these windows and there's 2 of me, I got to look out. I'm trying to break in this window. Lookout tells me to duck. We duck. No one sees us. So even with lighting, I have a great hiding spot here. So especially around your windows and so forth, you might want to think of how you have your shrubs. I actually prefer hostile vegetation, like barberry or something, because nobody wants to go through prickly bushes to get into your windows. But again, landscaping is going to be a huge thing around your property that can help decrease how deviant behavior or unhoused people camping or criminal activity is occurring on your property. And again, here's some examples. Would you want to walk through here or would you want to walk through here? I like this, or I like this one. If you notice this one, it's unkept. I got a nice ambush point right here where if I'm walking down this, someone can come out from behind. There's absolutely no lighting. Landscaping's terrible. I'm probably going to see more criminal behavior in this area. Compared to this one, I've got a nice, well-cut, maintained sidewalk. You can't see it, but this is a light. This is a light. I've got lights everywhere. And right in the center here, I've got a nice little community area where people in this area can hang out. With your businesses, this is also good because if you have an area around your business where your employees and stuff can go sit outside, relax, take a break, that's not necessarily too open to the public, it's gonna put more eyes out there, and we call that natural surveillance, so that it's going to deter criminal behavior or people wanting to sneak around your property if I've got people out there you know, eating their sandwiches, taking their lunch break, and so forth. It's getting those eyes out there. So, and you can kind of see in this landscaping video here, I've got this business, nice windows. They're looking straight out to the courtyard. You're going to see this tree canopy, 6 feet at least. I can see under them. All the shrubs are low to the ground. I've got this nice little sitting area here where people can sit and have their lunch and coffee. This is a great area. I'm not going to see a lot of things here. Personally, the only thing I would change is the bench and put little things in here so people don't want to sleep on the benches. But otherwise, I think this is a great setup right here. So landscaping definitely has a lot to do with what's happening around your business. Maintenance. I see some businesses that look great in front, and then they'll call me, they're like, well, we've had people camping in the back, and I had this going on. I go, look, and it's not very well kept. There's a lot of overgrown trees and so forth. So maintenance is going to be huge. I guarantee, as a matter of fact, what's crazy, this isn't even in Eugene. I just, the week before last, went to a call in Eugene because someone wanted me to go assess an alley, and it looked just like this, and there was campers all over it, unhoused campers all over in it. Because from the street, you look down there and you can't really see because it's so overgrown. So especially with your businesses, same thing. If you've got big overgrown trees and bushes and stuff like that, you're more likely to get people hiding in them, camping in them, so forth. So keeping up, you know, landscaping compared to this, you know, I've got my trees well kept, everything ground, the pavement's clean, it's nice, well kept. Usually we're going to see less criminal behavior in those areas. So around your business, kind of look at, you know, landscaping and just the maintenance of the property. Additionally, we call it the broken window theory, which are signs of disorder like your litter, graffiti, you know, broken windows. And the reason it got this name was because if you ever notice an old building, someone breaks a window out in it, and within a month, all the windows are broken out in it. And so this kind of goes back to where if you're not fixing or repairing things around, graffiti is a big one. I tell people all the time, go get a paint or whatever, the power wash or whatever, because as soon as graffiti starts showing up on your property, get it off. Because if you've got one gang member putting it off, now you're going to get a rival that's going to come in, and you're going to start getting that overlapping graffiti. If they see that it's going to get removed right away, they're going to go take it somewhere else. Not, you might deal with it for a little while, but stay persistent on it. The moment you start seeing that disruptive behavior, get rid of it. So getting rid of the graffiti, you know, fixing things. If the property looks well maintained and that you're going to be on it, it's less likely to be targeted. So definitely keep up on the maintenance of your property. And that kind of goes back also to changing the light bulbs and stuff like that as well. And okay, alarm systems, security guards, and security cameras. Yes, yes, and yes, please. But not all of us can do all of that. But when you are looking at stuff, definitely if you can have an alarm system, every business should have an alarm system if it was up to me. So they don't always, but I want an alarm system if I could. Windows, doors, anything you can. Security guards, even harder to find, but those are even great too. Security cameras are probably where I get the worst part of security, because a lot of people have cameras, but the cameras suck. They're just terrible. And, you know, with people like, yeah, we got the suspect on camera, and I get there and it's this grainy, dark figure, and you're like, oh, with a hoodie, yeah, I'm going to catch that person right away, you know. So if you're looking at cameras, I wouldn't go any lower than a 5 megapixel system. You're going to get terrible view. If not, you want to have good night vision. And the other thing we run into with a lot of the cameras is, say the crime happens on Friday, you don't come in until Monday, and every 48 hours your camera or your video re-records over. So making sure that you have a good lifespan, like up to a month would be perfect, you know, so that if law enforcement has to come in later to get that video, you're not losing it. And so again, look at the video system. If you're not going to get one where we can see anything, you're wasting your money. We're not going to be able to do anything with it. So get some good metapixels in there, make sure that it has good night vision on it, and a good recording time so that you can get that video later if you need to, and it's just not recording over evidence that we need. And I hope, oh, and then I was going to show you this. For some businesses, again, because I know that one of the things that Christy said, you guys had some questions were, is there's a lot of problem with the unhoused people camping on properties and stuff right now. So this is actually a business here in Eugene that I took a picture of. I love this. It's an analytic alarm. So you can see they have their eye in the sky. And this is outside the front door of their business. And so there's such creative things you can do with security nowadays. But in this instance, this is the security camera. This analytic alarm is set up for 30 seconds. If anybody is underneath the overhang for more than 30 seconds, a building alarm will go off. So you can actually get alarms that are motion detected that will, and it's a loud alarm, like you're going to hear it for about a block away. So if you are having problems with your overhang areas and so forth, you can talk to your security company about the eye in the sky analytical alarm. And I know a lot of them do it and stuff, which a lot of people aren't aware of, but I think it's a great deterrent if you have people, even if someone's trying to break in your business, usually it's going to take more than 30 seconds. So if you've got an area where you're really concerned that someone might be trying to break in at, that's something that you could keep, in mind for that. And this is just kind of a thing to show you. This is a 4 megapixel, this is 8 megapixel. And as we get out to 50 feet, kind of you can see just how that looks. And trust me, it's usually a lot worse with a lot of the video we get here at the police department. So, okay, territorial reinforcement. This is another big one and stuff. So here's 2 different things, but really letting it know this is our territory. Signs. Do you have a trespass letter on file? If so, you have to have that trespass sign up, that no trespass sign up. The fences, signs, really make it known this is my territory. Hands down, that way if a person's crossing over, they can't be like, well, I didn't know. Make it as obvious as possible. This is something I like too. This is an airport, obviously, but I like this because not only does it have great territorial reinforcement, other than it probably should have more signs on it. If this was my fence, I'd have a lot more no trespassing signs, etc. But the lighting on it, you've got nice uniform lighting on it. So if anyone's out in this outskirt area, I'm going to see you. So getting some good signage, fencing, whatever it takes, even shrubs you can use, something to separate you from the outer layers. So it's very obvious this is mine when you're looking at territorial reinforcement. This is something that I see a lot that I also cringe on is going into a business. This is actually one of the first things I notice is, do people even notice me when I come in? I can't tell you how many times I come in and this is what I'm, oops, gonna take my headset off. This is what I'm greeted with. Okay. So situational awareness is huge, and that's a whole nother seminar, but your person, if you've got a receptionist or a greeter or whatever, you need to place them to where they can see whoever's coming in the building, hopefully before they're even in the building. Okay, so that you have a good line of sight, what's happening, what's coming into me. You shouldn't have posters all over your windows, shrubs outside, so it's a big surprise when someone walks in. I've gone into places where the desk is over there and you walk in and you're looking around because you're like, who am I supposed to be talking to? So somebody should always be that first person to monitor who's coming into this building, and it should be very obvious before they're right there. And kind of if you look in situational awareness, this is where you get kind of into the fight, fright, or freeze response, where if I'm not a good person, I come in the building and I'm your receptionist or your front desk person or whoever's going to be the first contact isn't expecting it, they're probably going to go into freeze mode and not be able to react properly. So when you're looking at your front entrances or any entrance where someone from society can be coming in at, you need to make it very obvious. I want that good line of sight. I want to know what's coming in so that if I see something bad, I've got some time to let someone else know. Okay. And that's huge because I can't tell you how many times I walk in a business and I'm like, okay, first thing we're going to do is deal with this. So very important. And I believe, yes, so that's kind of the most Sept problem because I was told you guys might have a lot of questions, so I didn't want to go for the full 45. But I am going to kind of say on this note, I'm just going to kind of tell you about the 2 main types of crimes that we do have, and that's target versus opportunistic crimes. And the types of crimes you're going to encounter is going to completely depend on what kind of business you have, and sometimes you're going to get both. So a target crime is usually planned. The criminal has to really think about it. It's me, Larry, Curly, and Mo, we found out that Jim Nusser, he's got a safe at his house, yeah, and it's got guns in it. It's got about $10,000, some jewels. So Larry there's been watching Jim. He goes to work at this time. Mo, he's good with this. Okay, you get the point. It's well planned. We know what we're doing. So, I mean, if you've got stuff at your facility that you think is stuff that people are really going to go after, you need to take those security a little bit harder, okay? Compared to opportunistic crimes, you're a bike shop and you have some bikes out on display and I walk by and I see one unlocked, I steal it. That was a great opportunity. Opportunistic crimes are mostly what we see in the Eugene area because most criminals are lazy. It's I was doing yard work and I left the garage door open and went around, my chainsaw was missing, or something like that. But businesses are the same ways. I mean, if you're not a really secure facility, there's things you may not think of. We get people that'll call and say, yeah, our work trucks were broken into. Well, they were out. They weren't in a gated area, and I know how to get into a truck, so I went and broke into them. Great opportunity. So look at, what could be an easy opportunity and what can I do to prevent the opportunistic crime? How appealing would that be to a criminal? And now I got to start thinking of how I keep that safer. How do I minimize the opportunity? And that's going to help me decrease that criminal activity. Obviously, target crimes, if they're more well thought out and stuff like that, it comes down to how secure is my facility? How much security do I have, and so forth. It's really thinking of those little things. A lot of times, like for instance, you may be a bank and say, okay, obviously we can have bank robberies and we can have all this, and you're really thinking of the targeted crimes. But then, your employees are sitting outside with their cars full of all their personal belongings and are getting them broken into. There's just sometimes around your facility things you don't think of because you're really thinking about the big picture, but not the little things like the opportunistic crime that can happen. So you got to kind of look at both the big picture and the little picture of what can affect your business and what do I need to do now to make it safer. So I did add, just for the last part, because Christy wanted me to talk on this, is a lot of what's going on right now with the mask mandates, with people being like, they're not wearing a mask and I don't want to wear a mask, and a lot of angry people out there. She did want me to talk a little bit on de-escalation, but that would be like another hour seminar. So I did want to just kind of point that out there, that obviously the best fights are those ones that we avoid. And the big part of de-escalation is verbal and nonverbal techniques. So when you're dealing with de-escalation, obviously we want to reduce the intensity of the conflict. And that's usually by building a rapport with the person. And that's going to go into some things that I do, because I know a lot of these businesses are here in Eugene. So for those of you in Eugene, again, myself, Steve Chambers, and Margaret Mazzata, we're your 3 community engagement crime prevention specialists. And these are just some of the things that we do free of charge for your organization. Safety and de-escalation training, home safety assessments, building safety assessments, building access and layout program. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the building access and layout program because it's a program I just implemented this year. But if you want us to come into your business and do a full layout, get the blueprints, full security, everything, I actually will put it into a database for the police. So if an officer gets sent to your location, it can pop up on their screen and they'll have full ability to see what's going on in your building if there's a hostile situation or so forth. So if you are interested, you would call me directly for that and I can help you get set up on that. We help with Neighborhood Watch and a lot more, but those are just some things that I think could benefit a lot of the businesses in their surrounding areas. So if you want to get a hold of me, you can reach out. And I see Naomi Hernandez, you have a question?
Yes, can you tell us a little bit more about that program you were talking about where the information of a business is uploaded to a database? Which kinds of businesses would you recommend that would be a benefit for?
I would say, like right now, I've done quite a bit of the downtown hotels. There's a lot of businesses where banks, I've done several banks in town, so that you've got to think like, I'm not going to do a person's home, or I'm not going to do like a little mom and pop deli where there's a front door, back door, but if you've got a big organization where, say someone breaks in the building and it's like, there's different floors, different entries, access, roof access, basement access, is there some place that has chemicals in the building, so forth? Where are the cameras? Who has access to the cameras? Who do I need to call? There's someone in the building, but the building owner may not know about it, and we don't have the newest information on file. So what I do is I get all that information, including the blueprints, and I put it into 2 different systems, actually. So I put it into, we have kind of like our personal email here, that's just fire or police. But then also when I do that, I send it over to the comm center, and Meryl, I don't even know if you know about this yet because it's so new, but then fire, police, and ambulance, basically paramedics, would have access to that information. So it's newer, and I just started it. We've probably got about 20, 25 businesses in it right now. So
now, are there any that would be a requirement for? And I'm thinking about like the cannabis industry businesses that we have so many in town that deal with cash. Is that one of those types of industry that it's a requirement for?
nope.
Or any other industry?
Nope, no one's required. This is when I go into businesses with this, it is strictly me saying this is for your benefit. You know, police and fire are going to have all this information on your business, who's involved, and so forth. So it's up to the business owner if they want to be part of that. And a lot of times I have them get lock boxes. Fire has a lot of lock boxes, but as I kind of joke around with is we had a building recently, an apartment building that police needed to get in. And it had a fire lockbox, which was great, but we didn't have time to wait for fire. So dispatch was asking the officer after. She's like, "Could you let us know what code you used to get in?" He's like, "Affirm, crowbar," and it was a $5,000 window. So, so it is nice to know that, you know, if I can get police in there as fast as possible, that would be wonderful. So I don't think we all want to be replacing $5,000 windows.
So Naomi, I'm wondering, I'm going to ask our friend Meryl if maybe there's a requirement for the layout for the fire marshal side of things. Can I pick on you, Meryl?
Sorry, Meryl, I threw you out there.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
What was your question?
Yeah.
Do you want to repeat your question, Naomi?
Yes. So my question, Meryl, was whether or not there's any specific type of industry or business where it would be a requirement or strongly suggested to have this type of a program or implement this type of a program within their business practices.
A lockbox type of setup or an access entry type of setup. So
yes.
on our end, fire code dictates that any type of business or commercial occupancy with fire protection systems, so sprinklers, alarm system, hood suppression, you know, anything like that, it's required to have a Knox box, and that's in the cities of Eugene and Springfield. We oftentimes will get requests from just businesses in general to have one of the boxes installed. Again, it's a lot cheaper to open the door rather than bust the door down. And when you're dealing with anybody in public safety, especially fire crews, they're very excited and they will take a door down really quickly. So having keys is a great thing. And I only speak that because I once was in that position, so I'm well aware. But you can request or purchase a Knox box, and if you do, when you do that, what city are you in? Are you in Eugene?
In Eugene, work with primarily Lane County businesses in Lane County.
So I could provide you the link to where people get their Knox box for Eugene and Springfield, and it'll automatically tie you into Eugene Springfield Fire. Regardless if you have fire protection systems or not, you can certainly purchase one. It'll tell you where to install it, and it'll get you in the what's the word I'm trying to say? It'll get you in the formatting to where you'll get it. You'll contact the fire marshal's office. We'll come out, open it up. You can install it, and then we'll lock it for you, and then we supply that information back to dispatch, and then it would be available for you know, PD or fire, or as anybody responds to the location. So long story there, but yes, ultimately yes, you can request to have something put in place.
That's so cool. I had no idea. No idea. Other questions for Janina?
Not so much a question, but just a comment or a plug. You know, working with Safe Corporation, we had one of your coworkers come out a number of years ago to do kind of that assessment of our facility for security, as well as then coming back for some de-escalation training, and the experience was fantastic for both of those. So definitely, kind of from personal experience, can recommend the service from your team, and we found it to be super helpful. Gave us a bunch of good ideas, kind of on both pieces. And I think the people that went through the training, myself included, learned a bunch from the de-escalation, and then we had a number of different ideas that were very workable, that are we could go back to the building owner, because we lease a facility, and kind of say, okay, here's what you guys can hopefully help us with. Here's what we can do without needing to engage you. We'll just make this change ourselves. But I just wanted to give that quick plug.
Cool, thank you. No, I'm glad to hear that. And I actually have people that will have me come back on a yearly basis as mandatory training for their employees, like for safety and stuff. Kind of an example is a in-home care facility will have me come do safety seminars once a year, because they have a lot of nursing staff that'll go into people's homes and stuff like that. I once a year do the National Real Estate Agent safety for all the real estate agents here in town. So again, you guys, all the services I talked about, this is free for you and Eugene. So if you're a Eugene resident or business owner, all you have to do is call, and we will make it happen for you. So
The one question I would have, some of the other businesses that I think are here are in the Springfield area. Do you have knowledge on what they offer for this? And if you don't, that's totally fine. But I just those are probably the two main group of people that are at the meeting. Although we've got some from Harrisburg and Lowell and other places.
So if anyone from Springfield knows anything different, unfortunately, the Springfield I don't think has the community engagement, or I don't know if they do the Sept and stuff. So I can't say that for a fact. I can just say that people will call me and they're like, but Springfield said they don't have anyone. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't go outside my limits. So that's why if you are in the outskirt areas and you can't get a facility, depending on the size of your business, if you're a bigger organization, it might be worth it for the several $100s that it's going to cost. I mean, it might be a little bit more, because you got to pay like your head security to go to. We go to Vegas because it's the closest and the cheapest for a week. And the training is about $500 for Sept. Now there's advanced Sept, and then there's different categories of Sept. So it depends on what you want to invest in. But just to protect your business, I think just the basic Sept would be good if you have like a lead security. I know that one of the banks I deal with town, their lead security person who covers all the banks is trained in Sept. So again, it just depends on how big and how much you want to invest in that. If you just happen to call me and ask questions, though, I'm pretty sure I'll answer the questions. But I can't go out. I can't go out to the location, so I'll cheat a little.
I will also mention that Janina has agreed to be one of our presenters at the Cascade Occupational Safety and Health Conference next spring, which is March 7th and 8th, I think, are the right dates. And I think we're focused on de-escalation, but if there's a topic that you're interested in that we should be bringing to that conference, we'd love to hear that too. But that's a great opportunity that's coming soon. Well, I guess 6 months soon.
I think you actually secured me for a safety and a de-escalation.
See, look at that. We'll take you for everything, whatever you want to share.
My positivity, we got this one. I'll just be the main speaker. There we go.
Your positivity presentation is amazing.
I think Meryl's got his hand up.
Meryl.
Hey guys, I put my email in the chat. If anybody's interested in how the requirements for a Knox box, just shoot me an email. I'll be happy to forward all of our instructions to them. Just make sure that you do include the B in MB Harrison. There's an individual here at the city by the initials M Harrison who absolutely just loves getting all of my emails.
That's why you didn't return my last one.
Probably, yeah. So, yes, so make sure you do have MB Harrison in there, and I'll be happy to forward all the information to you, and we'll get you in the queue to get you set up.
Thanks, Meryl. All right, any other questions? if not, even if you guys just have a question over the phone about something, don't hesitate to call. I mean, I'm here Monday through Thursdays. So if I don't get back to you, it's because I'm gone or on vacation. But I always do make people a priority when I get back from my weekend or whatever to get back to you. So. All right, Christy, you need me? What do you need?
Well, I just want to thank you for your questions. It looks like we have one more hand though. Ray's got his hand up.
Oh, on the building assessment, so I got to the meeting a little bit late, but FEMA puts out a building risk assessment worksheet as well, and it is super detailed. And I used it to do the risk assessment on the Public Works building out here a few years ago, and it's pretty good. And it goes into a lot of the same stuff you're talking about.
Yeah, and there are some great, I think you can even go online and look up Sept, and they have some, you can actually get a manual sometimes that can walk you through some things too to give you that information. So if you don't have access to me, at least you have access to something. The internet's an amazing thing nowadays. What I tell people, and this sounds kind of creepy, but I'm kind of trained to think like a criminal. So when I go to your business, when I come to your home, I instantly go into crime mode. How am I going to break in right now? Oh, I'm going to get in that way. I'm going to use that and stuff. So that's how I think when I get places. So I try to just go around and think of what wonderful things I can do to victimize you, and then I try to fix it. So you can do a lot of that stuff, though, checklists and stuff that can show a lot of things that you're missing as well, though. I do show up in uniform, not a black burglar outfit, though, so. They won't let me. It'd be fun, though.
All right, any more questions for Janina?
All right, well, if you think of anyone, you guys, it was a pleasure, and don't hesitate to reach out to myself or any of the other community engagement specialists. You can go to the City of Eugene webpage under the community engagement team if you want to research our team a little bit more and see some of the things that we do.
Awesome. Thank you
again,
so much
for your time. Really appreciate it. Very informative presentation. Very, very, very thankful. So for others, we'll be having another meeting next month, third Tuesday. So you can kind of watch your email for the kind of the news and information about the next meeting topic and speaker. But glad people could make it, and have a great rest of the day. Christy, any other closing comments?
I was just going to share the topics that we are talking about. I see you, Lee. I'll hand it to you in just a minute. We are talking about next month is Fire Safety Month. So we're maybe going to have a presentation from someone from the Lane Fire Defense Board. We're also trying to get Michael Wood from Oregon OSHA to come and do his annual sort of state of Oregon OSHA. What does it look like? So that'll be coming soon. And the rest is still in development. So before we go, it looks like Lee has something to share.
I just want to introduce Safety and Health intern for this summer, who's getting ready to wrap up. And she does live in the Eugene area. So I wanted to introduce her to other safety professionals because that is her area of interest. So this is Malia LeBruce. Could you introduce yourself, Malia?
Hi, everyone. I'm Malia LeBruce. I'm the Safety and Health intern. It was really fun to watch this presentation, and I'm glad to be here.
Yay, thanks for doing that, Lee. Thank you, Malia. That's awesome.
And so if anyone knows of any openings, then please feel free to email me and I'll forward them on to Malia, or you can email her directly as well. We can email in there. She's a wonderful worker, I'll say that, and she's developed some really cool stuff this summer. And I thought it was really interesting. We were talking a little bit about the mask wearing and the de-escalation. And as a young worker, actually, the young workers are the ones that are actually dealing with that more so than often people think, because those are the folks that are working in the restaurants. Malia wrote a very fantastic blog for the Oregon Young Employee Safety Coalition about her experiences with that. So I want to just definitely put that shout out to everybody.
Good job,
I
Malia.
read that article, Malia. It was really well done. Good job.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So thank you all.
Again, I hopefully will be hearing from some of you. Any way I can help you, you guys let me know, okay?
Thank you again. Have a great rest of the day, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.